Alright, so in today's video we are going to be going over where we're at with the goats. We've had a bit of an issue with them jumping out of the electric fencing, so we really had to work on retraining them to it because we're kind of at a point where if they don't stop, we're probably going to have to get rid of them. We have not that much time to devote to them. My husband works 6 days a week. I'm a part-time veterinarian, and we have 2 kids. We just had our second child, and she's about 3 months old now. So we really have a limited number of time to spend, and that can't be running down the street because the goats got out again, and 3 times in a day of them jumping the fence when they have water, shade, a new pasture is a bit unnecessary. So we're going to go over what we've kind of done to retrain them to the fence. Today is the first day they are currently out on the new pasture, so hopefully we are at a point where we have fixed things, and we'll show you the kind of new things that we've added. So let's go see. So they're back out on pasture now. Currently sunbathing. I promise she's fine, she's just sunbathing. So first thing we did is we had to put them in a permanent enclosure. So we used this barn over here, and then we set up this electric goat fencing on the inside of the corral to start with. So it's open now, but they had access to go in and out of the barn. It's where we had fed them hay. This was all grass initially, so we had them set up in here, and then we did a 2-strand single line fence, which is what you can see at the top strand here. So we set that up at about nose height for the tall ones and then nose height for the kids, and we put that on the inside of the goat fencing and only electrified that, so it was hitting at minimum 8,000 volts, if not more. Our reader only goes up to 8,000. So we set that up and tried to get everyone to touch it. Again, they were in there for about a month, maybe 5 or 6 weeks, as well as allow them to eat some hay, put some weight back on from being out on pasture right after they finished lactating. So that was probably a mistake on our end, is putting them out directly onto pasture. That was probably not the best quality right after they finished lactating. The other thing we added in was this shelter that my husband built to make sure that they always have access to shade. Pretty much every pasture that they've been in, they've had like a tree to be under. This way they at least have access to that, but as you can see, they have the nice shade, and most of the herd has chosen to sunbathe in the dirt. There are some smarty pantses over by the shelter though. So we spent them in there. We used grain to try and get them all to touch it. Pretty much everyone retouched it except our herd matriarch, or the oldest girl, who's currently chewing her foot right in the front, that traditional there. Everyone would pretty much touch it except for her, but she's also giant and really can't jump the fence at all and shows no interest in it unless the entire herd gets out, and it's much lower than this. So this is the tallest Premier One fencing, the goat one that we've got set up. Don't mind all of the chickens that are chatting. So now that they're out on pasture again, the big thing that we added in compared to what we usually do is this top strand of single wire poly wire at the tallest height. So that's actually, I think, 2 or 3 inches taller than the actual fencing, and put it more on the inside, because the main issue we're having is that they're jumping it, and by they're jumping it, I mean the one with the halter. The red doe with the halter in the back is the one that is able to jump it from a standstill, and that wire is what they've all pretty much touched. That's been extremely hot, and we thankfully got her to touch it pretty much in the last week, which was perfect because she was almost going to be freezer camp if she did not behave herself or get sold. So we're hoping that that works. We have the halter on her because we were initially going to work on trying to tie her down into the center of the pasture by the shelter, but that's going to be very difficult to make happen safely. So the halter seems to kind of chill her out a little bit. The other big difference that we did is we expanded the netting. So instead of using 2 of the 160-foot nettings from Premier One, we're using 3. So we're hoping that also giving them more space will be helpful. The other thing I want to add is giving them electrolyte, water, as well as regular water to see if that encourages them to stay where they're at. And then we've got the little shelter here. So they've spent some time inside. Everyone looks like they're much better body condition now. We're hoping that we have figured out the bugs. So wish us luck.